point pronounced deceased. The then there were several shell casings that were collected at the scene. The shell casings were collected inside the apartment, which led us to believe that all of the shooting occurred while the suspects were inside of the apartment. There also was no signs of forced entry. From the time of the murder, we received multiple tips from Crime Stoppers, naming one individual as the primary suspect in the shooting. Ultimately, we developed enough information with information we received yesterday that kind of tied all the tips together, because previous to that, other than naming them, we didn't have the solid information we needed to get an arrest warrant for this subject. The information we received yesterday tied together with the previous information gave us enough to go to a judge and get an arrest warrant signed for an individual by the name of Elijah Jaquez Hood. Elijah is Elijah, middle name Jaquez, last name Hood, Hood. Date of birth 2/10/1998. The middle name is important because the moniker that was used is EJ, which is his first and middle initial. The majority of the tips came in referring to EJ. Once we developed the information, we were able to get the warrant signed. We were able to establish a location for this suspect in the area of Tamarack and Hampton. We located him inside an apartment and brought out all our tactical resources and our negotiators to establish communication with Elijah Hood. After some time, he agreed to come out without any other issues. So it was a very low-key arrest once he came out of that apartment. He was placed into custody and is currently being held on 3 counts of murder in the first degree. He'll face his first hearing tomorrow afternoon to determine whether the charges will be filed or not. There is a familial connection with Elijah Hood and at least one of the victims of the murder that night. Denise Hood, the adult female, is family relation to Elijah Hood. And as far as the other 2 victims, we're not sure if there's any family connection between those 2 and Mr. Hood. So that is a breakdown of what we have. I can open it up now for any questions you might have.
What is the relation between Denise and Elijah?
We believe she's his aunt.
She's a what?
Aunt. So it's Denise and Elijah are the family connection. We don't know of any motive other than there's the familial connection between the 2, and then the adult male in there, Donnie Ellen, and Mr. Hood were friends. They had a lot of communication, and they kind of palled around together. There was some indication they may have had a falling out. We don't know to what level that was yet. So. Elijah Hood he's opted not to give an interview, and obviously Mr. Allen is deceased, so we have not been able to really dig into what, if any, conflict there was between the 2 of them.
Elijah had at least 2 prior convictions for robbery and illegal possession of a weapon. Does that mean he was not supposed to have a weapon at the moment of the shooting?
Yes, he's not eligible to possess a weapon legally.
What was the additional information you received in order to file an arrest warrant?
There was some information that he had confessed to doing the crime, but I don't want to get any more involved in that because we do not. We want to protect the identity of this particular witness.
Can you go through that criminal history that was just mentioned?
I can't speak specifically to the criminal history. You can all what means to get it by, but what he stated is accurate.
Have you spoken with the family of the deceased, how they're feeling knowing that the shooter was caught? I know that was a big concern for them.
There has been communication. Our homicide detectives and sergeants have spoken to the family. There is a sense of relief. Of course, they're still processing this horrific incident, but there is always a sense of relief when someone that did something like that is now in custody. Okay. Thanks.
Maybe some story of mental issues with Elijah?
Do not know that yet. I haven't looked, there's no indicators in his history at this point. We do know he has a criminal background, but as far as mental health, I couldn't speak to that.
Can you talk about just how unusual it is when you see a kid involved in this? You know, you talk about motive and adults and the violence between adults, but there's a kid here, so it takes a toll on the community, and I'm sure police officers as well.
It's brutal for everybody involved, and I will tell you, that one is really tough for officers to see. You know, we spend a lot of time with resiliency, and especially when officers are exposed to something like that. Just like the community, we want to make sure that they're getting all the resources they need to help them process through that. So there's no explaining it. I don't think there's anybody in this room or in this community that can explain something that horrific when it involves a small child. Okay, thank you much.